hope this will give you some ammunition to be better equipped to handle the evolution religion that is running rampant in this world. I want to start off with talking about what do most Americans believe. According to surveys, year after year, from 1991 to 05, which is this year, consistently a very high percentage of people are not buying into this evolution theory. Now it's around 55 to 57% of the people believe God made the world in the last 10,000 years. So you have to figure out, or you have to realize, this is in spite of all the intensive propaganda since 1963 in the textbooks that we talked about last week. Here we've been brainwashing the kids intensively that the earth is billions of years old and they're still not buying it. Now, when I bring this up in debates and things like that at universities, I'll say, look, 60% of the Americans don't believe this stuff that you're teaching. Anybody want to guess what the evolutionist response is? They're dumb. If they only took a course on evolution, then they would understand. If only they were smart, you know.
Who's on there, Jonathan? Got to get my headphones on and everything. It's Jared calling in.
Jared calling in. Yes, sir. What are you going to weigh in on, Mormons or microchip or something else?
Whales, I was hoping.
Oh, whales. That fits right in the topic. Okay. Mormons, microchip, and whales. Go ahead.
Well, there's nothing really I mean, we probably agree about Mormons, so.
Okay. Well, that's a start, you know. That's hope then.
Yeah, there was something you were saying earlier that I think we agreed about too. Yeah, marriage. But you were basically saying that marriage shouldn't even be a legal issue to begin with because it's before God.
Yeah, why is the state involved?
Yeah, I actually agree with that completely.
Well,
I think that the entire gay marriage issue kind of highlights the fact that marriage is a religious institution, and the state shouldn't have anything to do with it to begin with.
That's one thing I was actually thinking about. I don't care if the state says that gay marriages are legitimate. That still doesn't change the, I guess the religious aspect of it. It's completely impossible, according to the Bible, for homosexuals to be married in the sense that the Bible uses it. So
sure, and that's because marriage in the Christian sense,
one man and one woman,
isn't affected by what the law of the United States says.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I think it was Richard on this program one time had a commercial about this guy comes in and he says, look, I'd like to get a marriage license. Mm-hmm. And the guy behind the counter says, okay, what's your wife's name? He says, no, I'm just going to marry myself because there's lots of benefits for married people at my job. Another guy walks in and says, three guys walk up, say, we want to get a marriage license. Okay, who's getting married to who? Well, we're all getting married to each other. Uh-huh. Another guy walks in and says, I want to get married to my tree, so my tree can have my benefits.
And if any one of these people are rejected that license, they can scream discrimination.
Sure.
Oh, yeah.
Sure, of course.
I mean, it's the whole idea of the government. Why is the government involved at all in marriage? Who gave them this right?
It's a dumb idea.
It is. Okay, you want to talk about whales?
Yeah, whales and Sirenians.
Sirenians, okay.
Dugongs and manatees.
Oh, yeah, yep, seen them many times.
Right, okay.
Neat critters.
So your position, I'm not sure who you got this from or whether you came up with it yourself. The thing about the hind limbs and the pelvis of modern whales, you think they're not vestigial, you think that they have a function, and the function is to aid in reproduction?
Yes, that is exactly what they do. You can ask any whale anatomy expert, and they should tell you that. If they don't, then they don't know what they're talking about, because that's what whales are pretty big, and their reproductive organs are pretty big.
Yeah.
Okay, and they require a little help to maneuver these things around, and that's what these bones are for, specifically.
Okay, so there's a couple of things I'd point out about this. One is that when Grant called in like a week or two ago, and it was after we had talked about the whale evolution, and I had shown you that picture with the 4 skeletons, and he said that the Durodon hind limbs were only used for reproduction because he was parodying something you had been saying about modern whales. Well, Durodon is not a modern whale, and those hind limbs are actually complete. I just wanted to point that out if he's listening. There's like a femur, and
so they are actually legs.
Yeah, they have feet on them.
Yeah, okay. Well, that may be true.
So those limbs had nothing. I mean, they may have had reproductive muscles attached to them somehow, but that obviously is not the purpose.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with the Durodon other than the picture you sent me. I haven't studied that one.
Okay, you can get a better skeleton image of it on the web. I have one right in front of me where it shows clearly look like bones. And Basilosaurus also has these leg bones, and they are in feet, I think. Yeah, because Gingrich discovered them.
So it has actual regular legs.
With toes, yeah.
All right, welcome back to the Creation Science Hour. This is Jonathan Sampson here with Dr. Hovind, September 2nd, and we've got Jared on the phone.
Yes, sir, Jared. Tell us about the whales now. Am I on there, Jonathan? Did you push my button?
Yeah, you're on. Okay, there we go.
There we go.
There we go.
Okay, so so the point is Basilosaurus and Durodon, which are ancient extinct mammal varieties. I think they belong to a different genus of modern whales even.
So they would not be in line for the evolution of the whale.
Well, they're very close. Durodon's closer than Basilosaurus, but they're both very close.
Now, how do you know something is close? Is this based on just their skeletal anatomy, which looks like it could be arranged in some kind of hierarchy?
That's all we have.
Right. But yet, don't you also complain about me asking, when you ask, how do I know things are similar? Well, it's pretty obvious you can tell things have a common designer when they have, similar parts.
Okay, well, we'll get to common design in a minute, but the point is that even creationists admit that Durodon and Basilosaurus are whales.
Okay, I'm looking at a picture.
Everything about their anatomy indicates that they are cetaceans, except for some of the features of their skull, which are different than modern whales, and their hind limbs. But that's the point. You said it couldn't be
Which creationist resource are you referring to that says these are whales?
Everything I've ever read from any creationist.
Says that these two-legged creatures are whales?
They're not really legged creatures. They couldn't walk with these hind limbs. That's the point.
Well, quite a few sea creatures have, small hind limbs that they can't really walk with, but they do assist them in swimming or turning, or even in mating.
But you said earlier, Jared, that these have femurs and toes and so forth, right?
Yes, Durodon and Basilosaurus both do.
Okay,
yes.
and creationists are saying that these things with femurs and toes are whales.
They're saying that Durodon and Basilosaurus. Go look into the Genesis and see what they say.
I'm just trying to make sure see what you're saying here.
Well, I'm looking at a picture of a Basilosaurus. How do you pronounce this? Cetoid? Cetoids? C-E-T?
Oh, I'm not really sure. I can't. I don't
It's
know.
Latin. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, Basilosaurus, Cetoides. I am unable to see any hind legs on it at all.
Yeah, they're pretty small, and some of the older specimens don't have them as pronounced. That was Gingrich's great find, I think, in the 80s or 90s, was he found the complete hind limbs and toes of a Basilosaurus specimen, I think in Pakistan.
Okay, have you ever heard of a evolutionist last name Stahl, S-T-A-H-L?
Yeah, I think so.
He wrote a book called Vertebrate History,
Uh-huh.
Dover Publishers, 1985. He said, and I quote, page 489, "The serpentine form of the body and the peculiar serrated cheek teeth made it plain that these archaeocetids could not possibly have been ancestral to any of the modern whales."
Yeah, I just said a minute ago that they weren't ancestral.
Okay, so if they're not in the line...
They're not on the line, Kent. Neither were Neanderthals. It's the same kind of thing. They're very close, but they're not on the line. Come on.
Well, I don't understand then.
Because you know that if evolution is true, then according to Darwin's theory and modern theory, evolution as a phylogeny is a huge bushy thing. It's not a spindly little tree. And if you have a huge bushy thing and you have a really low resolution fossil record of slices of it, you're not going to get directly ancestral forms just by probability theory.
So
you're not going to get things directly in the line of descent.